I stereotyped.
Yes.
I said, who's letting this guy into their homes to do real estate? He looks like a surfer. He looks like this radical skateboarder and everything else. How much is that a part of who you are? Or am I reading you totally wrong?
No, I'm kind of a cockamamie person. Yeah.
So I'm right on point.
You
what
are,
you're saying, okay. Well, thank you for joining us for the Rundown with Rene Knott. This episode is one that's very unique, a little different from what we normally do, because now we're sitting down with a guy that you probably know from social media, somebody that comes into your home and is funny and makes things happen, but also one of the biggest advocates for the city of St. Louis, even though he grew up in St. Charles County. He is here to tell you why you should come back to the city and be a part of the STL. He's a lemon. I'll let him decide which lemon he wants to be. On the podcast for this episode is the one, the only, and it's probably a good thing he's the only, David Lemon. How you doing, man?
Good, man.
Good
I'm
to
proud
see
I'm
you.
the only two. I think I'm okay
You would
with that.
confuse some people if there was two of you out there.
I'm really happy about that. If somebody else is out there looking like me, sorry.
Are you ever a person that sits back and looks at their popularity and go, how did all this happen?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did it happen?
You know, great question. I would like to think it was hard work. Is that true? Probably not. I mean, I put in probably a good year plus of trying to formulate something in the vertical video realm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, what have you, that would catch on and form into its own thing over time. And that's honestly kind of what happened. And I just kept making dad jokes. And eventually became a dad. Yeah, right. That's how good they were. And then I guess people found it funny.
Okay.
And I think I'm at the level of popularity mostly because I'm recognizable.
You got to look.
Not necessarily because I'm the funniest person out there, but funny looking also, helps with slightly funny.
It's a good combination to have sometimes. Good combination. What would you describe who you are as far as, are you an influencer? Sure. Are you a realtor? Or what are you?
I would like to become a St. Louis entrepreneur and advocate for the city in the most, what's the word I'm looking for? The most recognizable St. Louis advocate in the world. That's my goal. Right now, I'm a realtor, and I would like you to work with me if you're looking for a realtor. That's how I make my money.
If you're looking to buy or sell, give them a call.
Yeah, there you go. But that is the conduit for then me looking to build up what we have here in this city through things that you and I are both doing. We're trying to shout our city from the masses to the masses. And I think we're doing an all right job.
Well, why is that so important? Because a lot of people in their 30s are thinking about careers in other places, moving to sunnier areas, warmer areas, whatever it would be. Yeah. Why is it so important to you to shout it out? Hey, St. Louis is okay. This is a great place.
I think I grew up in St. Charles County. Okay. There is a lot of disdain for the city and coming to the city. At least there was when I grew up out there. I grew up in Lake St. Louis, Wentzville area, went to the Wentzville School District. We're quite far removed from the city limits. And you hear from people all the time out there, like, it's extremely dangerous. Why are you going into the city? And coming back to the city after going to Truman and making my own life here, and realizing this glass had shattered that I had built around me, and seeing the care that people have for this city that live within the city limits, especially, or like surrounding areas. I've lived in other places, and the attention that we give to our neighbors and the care that we have for our city, like comparably to other places, is pretty second to none.
Can you think of the first time being in the city surprised you? Like, I didn't think it would be that way. This is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Can you think of an instance?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to be as vulnerable as humanly possible.
Okay.
So I would come into the city for Blues games and Cardinals games and Rams games. Okay. That is maybe the City Museum. I had only been to the Arch like once on a school field trip. And that's it. Those are the things you came into the city for. I remember driving by McCausland on 40, that exit, looking at these brick homes and thinking, wow, like look at this dilapidated neighborhood. And by the way, not a dilapidated neighborhood, but I saw things that were old and kind of maybe rusty as bad, because I grew up in newness. I grew up in shininess and neighborhoods with big homes, in school districts with money, and in families that had maybe a stay-at-home mom and a dad that provided for their whole family, and moving back to the city and living on McCausland, right off McCausland, as my first place, living in the city limits of St. Louis, and realizing, like this is just something that I created in my own brain, not necessarily instilled upon by my family, but the world that was built out there and the things that you hear in the news.
Why'd he point at me for that?
I don't know.
I'm not in the news anymore.
Hey, okay. But you were when I grew up, you know what I'm saying? It turned me into such the stark advocate for truth in this city.
Almost like a superhero.
Oh God, no.
Yeah.
You don't want me to
What
be
a big STL.
You do not want me to be a superhero.
What superpower do you think you would need to turn this city around? What superpower do you think you would have to possess to make St. Louis everything that you believe St. Louis is?
Yeah, storytelling. Yeah. I pride myself on being quite a good storyteller, so I went to school for sports broadcasting. There you go. And I wanted to be you, Rene.
Wow. Here, let's change seats for.
Yeah. And so I wanted to be in that world, and I think I have that ability to where I can show people the reality of our city. I can tell the stories of our city. I can show these business leaders and these very influential people through my platform, through Overarching, through LMN Real Estate, and like through the people that I have in my community to bring their business here, to bring their lives here, because it is way better than you think.
Yeah. But in reality, in some ways, there's also a racial line that needs to be broken. And the two sides need to have a better understanding of one another. One of the things that I witnessed during not the pandemic so much, but during the tornado recovery, was the fact that people on one side of town ventured to the other side of town and got to know what it was like over there. Is that something that you encourage people to do as well? Go see for yourself what it's like and get that firsthand understanding of what people are dealing with?
Yeah, I think first before just going is listening. I try not to make any assumptions about what people need in their lives, no matter the race or creed. Just whomever you meet in this city, no matter what, you should go into their lives with open ears, first and foremost, and then see how you can be an advocate for them from there. Yeah. With the tornado, for instance, you have these people coming out of the woodworks because tragedy spawns care, right? You see all these things that happen around the country, like Boston after the marathon bombing coming together, and then they win the 2013 World Series. All these things that happen, and spur a community after tragedy. And I think it's important for us to respond to those things, but we don't need tragedy to spur us into these pieces of advocacy. We need people in our city and surrounding areas. We need people in Wentzville telling the story of our greater
getting out of their comfort zone.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
coming over and meeting people on their territory and shaking hands and understanding and getting to know one another face to face.
Yes.
Makes the difference. And I'll be honest with you. When I first saw you on Instagram, I stereotyped.
Yeah.
I said, who's letting this guy into their homes to do real estate? He looks like a surfer. He looks like this radical skateboarder and everything else. How much is that a part of who you are? Or am I reading you totally wrong?
No, I'm kind of a cockamamie person. Yeah.
So I'm right on point.
You
what
are,
you're saying, okay.
I want people to trust me with selling and listing their property and helping them find their next property. It kind of is hard to sometimes earn the trust of people with my bounce off the walls energy and silly, enigmatic personality. But I also think that people trust me because I'm not trying to be anything I'm not.
Yeah.
I think my business is thriving because of just that.
Yeah.
And I am here for the laughs. I am here for that. I think if I could change anything about maybe what I'm trying to have the world perceive me about me, because let me be very clear, I care a little bit too much about what people think about me. I'm working on that, Rene.
Oh.
But I think that's the thing that I would change the most. Yeah, I want to care less about what people think about me. It stinks that I'm a vertical video influencer.
Because when you think about think about what you do, you need people. Yeah, you need that feedback from the public to make sure that they still love you. But doing what you do, how much fun is that? It seems to be enjoyable to you when you put your videos together, when you're going through the houses and things like this.
Yeah, I have such a fascination with St. Louis history and architecture. So it's a perfect blend. I couldn't be happier to do what I do. I think where I came from and the world that I was in the sales and marketing and video production world has allowed me to kind of create this own real estate universe that I've created on the vertical platforms.
That's wild. Yeah. That is wild. And going back to that first question about your popularity, does it surprise you? If I was to take you back to day one and you were able, and I told you you'd be this popular and you'd make this type of money and you'd be doing all these things, when you went, get out of here.
Well, so my mom shared with me a little poster that I made in like second grade or something like that of what do you want to be when you grow up? And it was baseball player, TV star. And I'm not a baseball player. So tell you that much.
Do you say, would you go TV star or would you say internet star?
I'll tell you what, being a TV star doesn't sound fun these days because as think TV's kind of
it's changing.
It's moving.
It's changing.
So,
the internet's a much better place as far as social media goes. You brought up baseball. Mm-hmm. Who's your number one guy in baseball?
Who's my number one guy?
Who's your favorite guy in baseball?
Yeah, it's Shohei Ohtani.
What's up with that?
Oh gosh,
we got a whole roster over there in Busch Stadium known as the St. Louis Cardinals.
Listen, Brendan Donovan's the scrappiest, loveliest baseball player we have. Okay. Oh God, is he such a good baseball player? Yeah. But when you have God playing baseball, when God has come down
it's a whole nother level
as a second Jesus, I think Shohei might be the second coming.
Wow.
So he truly is an inspiring baseball player. Do you know he sleeps like 11 to 12 hours a day?
You know way too much about him, but
Isn't that insane? Yeah. That's so lovely. I love knowing.
Well, he's got a lot of money. He doesn't have to go out and work all the time. He could probably sit back and relax and sleep for 12 hours.
But it showcases how much sleep is important. Mm-hmm. And sleeping in is great, babe. Sleeping in is great.
Good luck with that one. She's unbinded for a second.
No.
Who would be your all-time favorite Cardinal?
It's Ray Lankford for me.
I like Ray.
I grew up in that era in 90s ball. When you're a kid, you love the long ball. And Ray was the perfect blend of offense and defense and showmanship during that time. And, most home runs in Busch too, right? He's a character. He's also like not a huge person. No. He's like 5'10". No. He's my height.
Regular guy.
Yeah. I was like, I can do that.
You can do that.
No, couldn't do that.
Couldn't do that. You mentioned earlier about, going to Rams games, going to Blues games, going to Cardinals games. When you look at the state of St. Louis sports right now, are you disappointed?
No. I'm actually quite excited.
Why?
I'm not a huge NFL fan. I've never been like a giant NFL fan. You know, growing up during the Greatest Show on Turf.
Who wasn't an NFL fan?
Very
then?
blessed.
Yeah.
Very, like, let's be honest. But being a St. Louisan, you are inundated into two religions. It's baseball and soccer. So having the MLS here, I'm kind of a bigger fan of St. Louis FC when they were here. I loved those games. You were so close to the action. You know, it's super communal. Like you're hanging out with the players and talking with coaches, and ownership listens to you like actual fans. So I'm a big fan of the USL, but the MLS here and what it's doing and what City is doing downtown and downtown West, and the economic development that it's spurring down there for other developers outside the city of St. Louis, seeing that for the growth of the city, I think is a much, much bigger impact than, you know, the Kronkmeister ever did for St. Louis.
Good, because he's gone.
He's great. That's
He's
good.
gone. So we gotta look a different way. Yeah. You bring up the sports being a part of your blood in St. Louis. So I got to ask you this because I read this on your little bio. You're not happy with the whole phrase "where'd you went to high school"?
I mean, it's
like that
institutionalized, right? I think every other city in the United States probably asks that question, maybe not to the depth that we ask it. You know, it's certainly a way to judge somebody's socioeconomic status, right? But I don't see a massive harm in it. I think there's just better questions.
It's odd. So when I moved here in 2004, people would ask me that question, and I go, "Well, you wouldn't know what school I went to. I grew up in California, so you wouldn't know." "Oh no, what school you go to?" And I would tell them, and then it was blank face because I guess they couldn't put me in a pigeonhole anywhere because they know nothing about the school.
Yeah.
But now that I've lived here for 22 years, people swear that you went to CBC, right? No, you went to DeSmet, right? They're always trying to place you in the school because they know you've been here so long, you had to have grown up here. I didn't grow up here.
People constantly ask me like what city school or surrounding, like Kirkwood, like mid-county school that I went to. They think I'm a mid-county boy. And then they say, well, Wentzville, when it was still farmland. And that's where... When it was
changed a lot since then.
There was like 6,000 to 10,000 people out there in that whole area when I was out there. Now there's 50 plus thousand.
Just try driving on Highway 40
Yeah.
from out that way to come back downtown. It's a little rough. It's a little rough. What would be your phrase that you would prefer people to use as St. Louisans when they greet one another instead of "Where'd you go to high school"?
Yeah. Like what I always like asking people just what their watering hole is. You know, what's your local bar? Like, what's your sandwich? Like those two things.
That's a good one.
Because St. Louis is a sandwich city.
What is your sandwich?
I am the Eovaldi's. Anything from Eovaldi's. So the Godfather there is great. So the New York is awesome there. But anything that AJ and the guys are making over at Eovaldi's, I'm for. I love a cold Sammy. Okay. If I'm going hot, I'm going Blues City Deli.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now see, I'm not a deli person. I'm a burger person.
Yeah.
So I'm digging all the hamburgers. So I go to I love burgers that are in the places that aren't your fancy foo-foo joints. Yeah. I like more of, and I hate to say a dive restaurant, but you know, more along those lines because they put more effort into the meat that comes out. Mm-hmm. And my drink of choice, if I'm out, is draft beer. Mm-hmm. So I love a good draft beer. Budweiser would be the choice because we're in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. But if I go over to my joint here in Clayton, Jay McGrath's, I will get the Stag beer in the can, the 16 ounce. Something old school about that.
I've always wanted to, so how Chicago has, there's like a name for, it's like a shot and an old style. Okay. There's a name for, it's like the Chicago hug or like Chicago handshake. I think it's what it's called or something like that. I think it's called the Chicago handshake. But I wanted to make something for St. Louis, its own like little drink combo because, Missouri is home to, Missouri white oak. All bourbon barrels are made with Missouri white oak. So, any shot of bourbon, because we're hearkening to that, and then a can of Stag, and call it the St. Louis Backpat.
I'm in.
You know, you can have one and then just slap each other on the back.
Those are two of my favorites. So we will marry them. You and I will start a trend.
The St. Louis backpack.
That begins today. Besides the St. Louis backpack bringing our city together.
Yeah, it will.
As we wrap things up, what is the one way you believe that we all come together? What is the one thing that saves this city and really in many ways puts it back up on the map where it was way back when?
Okay, great question. I think it's more than just you being more involved in your neighborhood and going outside to see your neighbors, which is one of the most important things you can do with your time is just get outside, go talk to your neighbors, go actually befriend your neighbors. From a, what do you call it, political standpoint, I think the freedom of movement is the number one freedom we can have. And if we can't connect our north and south sides with either this bus rapid transit or this light rail transit with the Green Line, freedom of movement, allowing people to move to their jobs, move to groceries, move to the things that they need in their daily lives. I think that's the first and foremost thing this city should be, investing its money into. And I think our city leaders should be doing a little bit better job of connecting us together from the north and south instead of east to west.
Well, I hope they're listening.
Me too.
I like that idea. David, thanks for coming in, man.
It was a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Happy to be here.